Picture a time when the earth was younger, harsher, and infinitely more perilous. For a moment, imagine you are not resting on your soft mattress, but curled up on a bed of animal pelts inside a shelter fashioned from the bones of a giant beast. The air you breathe is sharp and pure, colder than anything you have ever known. The silence before dawn is so absolute that the only sound piercing it is the lonely whistle of wind sweeping across a vast frozen plain. For tonight's journey, you are no longer yourself. You are a Paleolithic human, and your day is about to begin. Before we settle into the story, though, let's be real. Your odds of surviving the next 24 hours are slim. The skills needed to simply make it to the next sunrise are so alien to us now that they almost seem absurd. So, before you relax, take a second to like this video and subscribe, only if you genuinely enjoy this kind of content. That one small click tells the algorithm that long-form serious storytelling still matters. To me, it's a huge sign of support, and I can't thank you enough for helping keep this channel alive. As always, I love seeing where you're tuning in from. Drop your city or country and local time in the comments. It's incredible watching this global community connect. Now dim your lights, maybe switch on a fan for some ambient noise, and let's step fully into the world of our ancestors. There is no alarm clock, no gentle nudge from a partner. What drags you out of your deep, dreamless sleep is the cold, not just a chill, but a searing, invasive cold that seeps through your shelter's hides and sinks into your bones. You lie curled tightly beneath furs, deer, wolf, maybe even the thick pelt of a young cave bear. Your body knows this enemy well. Cold is the constant threat, the relentless force that shapes every decision and defines survival. And no, you don't live in some dripping cave. That's a myth. Your home is far more ingenious. You live in a circular dwelling built from the massive curved ribs of woolly mammoths, their ends anchored deep into frozen soil. Their tusks interlock above you, forming an arched doorway sealed with a heavy hide to keep out the worst of the storm. Ingenious engineering, and the only reason you and 24 clanmates survived the last blizzard. Across the hearth, an elder groans, his joints stiff from the damp. Around you, your people still sleep, their steady breathing filling the dark. You smell them too. The greasy tang of unwashed bodies, smoke embedded in every hair and fibre, and the faint metallic trace of old blood from the last hunt. To you, this is not unpleasant. This is the smell of safety, the smell of home, but something is missing, a scent you should never wake without. Smoke. You open your eyes. In the center lies the hearth, the heart of your people. But its pulse is failing. Last night's fire has dwindled to a mound of pale ash, with only a faint ember glowing like a dying star at its core. This is the first trial of your day, and the most important. Because if that ember dies, the cold wins. And starting fire from nothing is no easy task. Friction, prayer, and luck with no guarantee of success. It can burn hours of effort and precious energy. So you never, ever let the flame die. Sliding from your furs, the icy ground stabs at your bare feet. You move silently through the bodies huddled around you. At the hearth's edge rests the tinder bundle, strips of birch bark, cattail fluff, and the precious tinder fungus, what future scientists will call amadou, capable of cradling a spark for hours. Archaeologists thousands of years from now will uncover hearths just like this one, layers of ash built over generations, silent proof of these very rituals. You pinch off the lightest tuft of tinder and lean close to the ember. Your face glows in its dim warmth as you purse your lips and breathe. Not a puff, but a long, slow stream of air. For a terrifying moment, nothing. The ember darkens, and dread squeezes your gut. The fate of everyone here hangs on this breath. Then, a thread of smoke. You breathe again, stronger this time. A tiny orange spark leaps to life, clings to the tinder, and after wavering, catches. A fragile flame, no bigger than your thumbnail, flickers into existence. Relief crashes over you like a wave. You've done it. You've held back the cold one more day. You feed it carefully, twigs first, then split logs from the precious wood stockpile. The flame grows, becomes fire, becomes warmth. Shadows dance against the mammoth bones as the frost retreats. The hearth lives again, and with it, so do you all. Around you, the clan stirs. Not the sun, still hours below the horizon, but this fire marks the dawn inside the bone house. Faces are revealed in soft flickers. A young mother drawing a bearskin tighter over her infant, hunters sprawled in deep, youthful slumber, and near the fire, the old woman. Her eyes are already open, fixed on you. She does not smile, she does not speak. She doesn't need to. The quiet approval in her gaze is enough. This is your world. 27 people bound together in blood and necessity. Cousins, brothers, nephews, elders. To anthropologists of the far future, this will be a hunter-gatherer band. To you, it is family, the only lifeline you will ever know. Every role matters. The hunter's legs are useless without the elder's memory of herbs. The children's sharp eyes, spotting rabbits in the grass, are as vital as the skilled hands that shape stone into blades. Together you are one organism, fragile but resilient. As more wake, the hut fills with quiet movement, coughs, the rustle of hides, a low grunt. No cheery greetings, just subtle gestures and glances. A man taps his throat, then nods toward the waterskins. His wife nods back. A whole conversation in silence. Language is still a blunt tool here, but shared understanding keeps you alive. The oldest man rises, his white hair stark against dark, weathered skin. Each step is slow, deliberate, but he endures. Elders of this age often lived well into their 40s or 50s, proof of a clan's ability to protect its own, even past their prime. He pulls aside the heavy hide flap. A blast of icy blue light and razor wind floods the hut. For a moment, he stands silhouetted against the frozen step, not just looking, but reading. He tastes the air, gauges the wind, listens to how it whispers through the mammoth bones. His senses are instruments, his body the forecast. Finally, he drops the hide and speaks. Few words, but everyone understands. North wind, clear skies for now. Snow is coming soon. Deer will shelter in the valleys. An entire briefing in a handful of syllables, and with that, the focus shifts to food. There is no pantry, no shelves of choice. The old woman digs into a stiff leather sack and pulls out a hunk of smoked horse meat, frozen hard as stone. With a flint flake, she shaves off thin strips and passes them around. You chew slowly, the smoky flavor filling your mouth as saliva softens the fibers. A handful of dried rowan berries is passed next. It is not a feast, but it is enough to begin another day. Their sharp, tangy flavor is a welcome change. A few hundred calories, just enough to power the morning's work. It isn't much, but it's survival. The food is shared with no ceremony, each hand passing a portion to the next, making sure even the smallest children and the frailest elders eat. This simple act of distribution is more than sustenance. It is trust itself, a quiet oath that as long as there is food, no one will go hungry. When the brief meal ends, the day doesn't explode into chaos. Instead, it begins with a quiet circle around the fire, an informal council. Think of it as a Paleolithic morning meeting, but with the fate of the clan at stake rather than sales quotas. The elder who studied the sky expands on his forecast, sketching a mental picture of the weather to come. Hunters speak of what they saw 2 days past, the tracks of a great bison herd moving eastward, and disturbingly fresh paw prints of a cave lion by the frozen river. A woman adds news of berries ripening on the southern ridge, the last lingering sweetness of the season. It is not command and obedience here. Leadership flows with circumstance. The best hunter leads the hunt. The one with deepest knowledge of plants directs the gatherers. This society runs on skill and respect, not rigid rank. From this web of shared knowledge, a plan takes shape. The deer down in the valleys offer the best hope for a large kill, so a hunting party will head out. But the division of labor breaks every stereotype. Your sister, unmatched in stamina and able to read the twitch of a herd like few others, will join the hunters. Meanwhile, one of the clan's finest hunters, his limp a reminder of a woolly rhino long ago, stays behind. His job is no less crucial, shaping new spear shafts from seasoned birchwood and teaching wide-eyed adolescents the craft. One day, archaeologists will argue over gender roles in this era, but the bones and burials suggest something far less rigid, a world built on practical skill, individual contribution, and shared survival. Before any party departs, the first necessity must be addressed: water. The deerskin water bladders are nearly drained. A small group is chosen for the river run, and you are among them. It sounds routine, but no step outside is ever safe. You pull on layers of hide and fur, binding on boots stuffed with dried grass. Against the cold, you dress for war. The limp, empty skins are gathered, and the thought of cold, living water drives you forward. Your destination: a bend in the river where the current is strong enough to resist the ice. It is half an hour's walk each way, through beauty and danger, in a land where you are both predator and prey. But before anyone leaves, one last ritual must be honored: the tool check. Your life depends on technology more than muscle. You draw your knife, not of steel, but of finely knapped grey flint, sharp as a razor. Its edge glints in the firelight as you recall the deer you struck it, free from its core, shaping it into this leaf-shaped blade. You notice a small nick near the point, damage from butchering a horse last week, still serviceable, though you'll sharpen it tonight. Around you, others tend their tools too. A hunter testing the sinew bindings on a barbed antler spearhead fixed with birch tar, a woman examining her worn scraper used for hides. This maintenance is instinctive, constant. Your tools are not objects, they are companions. Centuries from now, scientists will examine the scratches and polish left on such blades, deducing which ones cut meat, shaved wood, or sliced reeds. To them, data. To you, memory. When all is in order, you nod to your companions. The heavy hide door is pulled back, and the world rushes in. Air so cold it burns, light so blue it feels unreal. Together, you step out of the warmth of the mammoth bone hut and into the raw silence of the Ice Age. The land that greets you is stark and vast. The air is so clean it feels breakable. The steppe stretches endlessly, patched with pale grasses beneath a dusting of snow. Every step crunches against the frozen ground, echoing in the silence. The sky is a pale, luminous blue, impossibly high above. On the horizon, a dark line moves, a herd of wild horses, their thick coats gleaming against the frost. To the left, the frozen river curves, shimmering, and beyond it rises a jagged rock outcrop, like the fang of some ancient beast. This is your map, No parchment, no compass, only memory and the stories of your people. That outcrop is the bear's tooth, named for the massive cave bear your grandfather slew there. A cluster of birch trees to the south are the whispering sisters, their summer leaves warning of storms. Landmarks, rivers, wind, they are your coordinates. Future scholars will wonder how such maps were stored, story, song, carved bone. But for you, it is seamless, a living knowledge shared by the clan. You don't live on this land, you live with it. While the hunters turn west for the valleys, your small group, 3 women, an older man and 2 adolescents, head south. You are the gatherers. This is not aimless wandering, but a mission. Your aunt leads, her memory guiding her to a sheltered hollow where roots lie hidden. She searches the frozen earth for faint stalks, invisible to you but clear to her. A tiny withered sprig. This is the sign. All of her knowledge, passed down in whispers and demonstrations, comes alive in this moment. She knows this root feeds you, while its berries sicken you. She knows the bright red mushrooms clinging to that fallen birch are lethal. Her mind is a vast, living library. Your tools are simple but ingenious. A reindeer hide satchel lined with fur for insulation. A tightly woven willow basket on your aunt's back, proof of a weaving tradition so ancient that its traces survive only as ghostly impressions in clay. And most vital, the digging stick, just a fire-hardened branch, yet the very key to survival, prying roots from frozen soil. It may look primitive, laughable, but it is the quiet foundation of your existence. The hunt may fail. The digging stick never does. And so your small group walks on, eyes scanning the frozen earth, reading the hidden language of the winter land. She knows that the fuzzy lichen growing nearby can be pressed onto a wound to stop bleeding. She knows the inner bark of a certain willow can be chewed to ease a headache, and that a tea made from the blossoms of a low, scraggly bush can bring down a fever. This is not guesswork, it is a tested, inherited body of knowledge. Centuries later, ethnobotanists will argue over how such wisdom was gained, through generations of brutal trial and error, with countless lives lost in the process, or by careful observation of what animals consumed and avoided. Either way, the result is the same. A profound, life-sustaining intimacy with the natural world, a depth of understanding that most of your descendants will eventually lose. Remarkably, even this knowledge leaves microscopic traces in the fossil record. The evidence will be discovered in an unlikely place, on the very surface of your teeth. The plaque that builds during your life hardens into a substance called dental calculus, a time capsule that fossilizes, trapping particles of what you ate, drank, and breathed. Scientists of the future, examining the teeth of your ancestors, will find starch grains from these roots, pollen from medicinal plants like chamomile, and chemical traces of poplar, the natural source of aspirin's active ingredient. They will learn that your diet was not just a desperate scramble for meat, but a diverse, carefully balanced menu shaped by encyclopedic knowledge of the land. Your aunt selects a promising patch and goes to work,